Clinical studies are the best way we have to make sure that medical treatment is safe and effective.
There are many ways to study new treatments in kids. Some studies test medicines or devices.
Other studies may observe how kids grow or learn or behave.
Some studies last a long time. Others may only require one visit.
But clinical research is the best way we have to find out what works and what doesn't.
Me and my brother, Jackson, have a rare disease called chronic granulomatous. It's where white blood cells don't work at all, but they're there, you know. We can't fight off infections like as well as normal kids could.
I had scarring in my kidneys, and eventually what that does is if it's untreated, then you have to get a kidney transplant, because then your kidneys are going to continue to scar until it can't function anymore. And so that's why FSGS is dangerous, but if it goes undiagnosed, then it could lead to kidney failure.
I have I think it's ultra rare actually. It's a disease called Fabry disease. It runs in my family from my mom's side. My grandfather had it. We can't cure it just yet, so we're trying to slow the process right now with the medicine.
It is something you're born with, and then usually the doctor texts you and says, "Ooh, there's something wrong," and then you just find out you have it, and then you just take a pill, and people try and make a way for maybe it to go away or something.
I've been put on a new medicine now, but I've took interferon gamma shots all my life, and I only have 3 pills to take, so it can get aggravating sometimes, but if it keeps us alive, it's good.
FSGS doesn't really have a cure. So what we're doing now is we're trying to find out what medicines can help it control the scarring of the kidneys, and that's when they told me about the study.
So, you've been asked to enroll your child in a clinical study? That's scary. But you know what's scarier?
Until recently, and even still not very often,
Very little testing has been done on kids of the drugs kids take, or might have to take someday.
So, yeah, it's scary. But we're taking stuff that's only been tested on adults.
That's pretty scary too.
Children are people in transition, in developmentally, aggressive and progressive states. And so we really need to understand, what happens if I give this medication to this child.
It is true that maybe 70% or so of medications that we prescribe in children have never been tested in them.
We want to have medications that are effective for children, so it's important that we test them in children. And we have found over the last 20 years that many medications that have been tested in children have been shown to have different side effects than adults.
So what they're trying to do in a clinical study is they're trying to evaluate or test a proposed new method to see whether or not it's effective, to see whether or not it's safe.
They run the gamut, certainly, from testing of normal children, perhaps in vaccine studies to see how well vaccines work, all the way to those very critical life and death kinds of situations.
Children are not little adults. They're really unique. The developmental perspective is so incredibly important.
What is a clinical study? Is it safe? Why is the study being done?
how long will it take?
What are the risks?
What are the benefits?
How involved are the parents?
Who's in charge? How do I get more information?
Can I talk to other parents in our situation? Can kids ask questions too?
Just ask. They'll tell you.
Knowledge is power, and I know that's cliche, but that's true. You've got to get out there and you've got to find out yourself.
You can ask them, has this drug been tested before in humans? How often has it been tested? How many humans have got it? Have children received it before? How many children have received it before? And a lot of times the only way you can find out is by asking and getting that information with respect to a specific study.
You need to ask a lot of questions. Not because the first person tell you this is what it is, just say, okay, well, let's just take this for granted and go ahead with whatever they say. You need to feel very comfortable with what you're getting involved with.
No one's ever made me feel uncomfortable, like I've asked a stupid question or anything, even though I'm sure they get the same questions thousands of times. No, I've never never hesitated to ask a question.
This is your child, right? And no question is stupid. If you ask it and they can't answer it, then who is stupid, right?
Nobody wants to be a guinea pig.
Nobody's going to be a guinea pig.
We're kids, and we'll stay that way.
With all the protection of our rights and dignity any adult would get.
I did not want to put my son on a medication unless he was in a clinical trial. And I've goosebumps thinking about this. I'm a nurse by trade. And I initially thought never go on a clinical trial. I don't want him to be a guinea pig and all this stuff. As a nurse, I should have known better.
Almost at no other time in a child's life do they have as many safeguards brought to bear on their well-being, actually, as when they're in a clinical trial.
Well, I think safety is a big concern when children are enrolled in clinical trials. And I think that researchers are as concerned about safety as parents are.
Typically what happens once you enroll your child in a study, it feels more that they're part of a team, that they're part of a project, and they often feel more like contributors.
I do feel like we're part of a team, especially when we go in. They meet us in the lobby and bring us through, and they just walk us through everything that we need to do and answer all of our questions. And it's very easy, and they're very friendly, and I feel like we're all working for the same goal.
Parents are in charge of their child's well-being. I mean, you have to take control. You have to be proactive.
I consider the parents my partners because, who else is going to watch whether the child develops a rash or whether the child, for example, is sleeping more at night, or in other words, doesn't want to get up in the morning to go to school. The parent is what is called the qualitative analyzer of how their child looks regularly.
There are good and bad things about everything in life, and it's no different here.
So you have to think about yourself too, as well as your kid.
Asking questions, talking to other parents and kids.
Talking to the doctor and doing your own research will really help you map out what's acceptable and what may not be.
It's like, okay, I really got to know why they want to do this, because, I don't want him to do it if the study doesn't make sense. If what they're going to learn isn't going to help anybody. But it was a good study. It is going to be helpful.
It was a tough decision, and we had time to think about it. We didn't have to decide right then. I don't know if other people get that luxury, but we were able to take all the paperwork home and read through it and then decide.
The reason why I was so comfortable with it, because they told me everything off the bat and they didn't keep me in the dark about anything.
If you don't feel comfortable, get the information then and feel comfortable about it so you can make an honest decision about what you're going to be doing.
Your child is sick, and this study may help, or it may not.
But it may help someone, someday.
It may not be for you or your child, and that's okay.
Your doctors will take care of your child, even if you say no.
By saying no, nothing is gonna change. It's gonna remain the same. The care, the treatment, everything is gonna remain the same, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to take a while and think about it before saying yes or no, but it's okay to say no.
Ultimately, it has to come from inside. You've got to feel that what you're doing for your child is the best choice for your child, and you've got to be comfortable with the decision.
Mostly, the reason I wanted to do it was just to help find a cure and to benefit the science.
Most of the benefit was not going to be for us now. It was really for other people, for a hopefully future cure.
You have to include the community. They need to know that these things are out there, these diseases are out there, because it's not very well known. And there are a lot of people suffering.
My hopes are that she lives as normal as a life as she can, and if she has to take a pill in the morning, so be it. A lot of other people do.
And it's scary, but when your choice is, do I do something and do it for a positive reason, to fix you and to help you, or do I do nothing and wait and see what in the world happens? And my choice wasn't that.
If we can find a way to reverse some of the effects of the disease, we can make it better.
Ask questions. Weigh the pros and the cons.
Then, decide what's best. That's really all we ask.